Warning, this is not skydiving instruction. This is a collection of opinions. The only person you should seek any skydiving instruction from is your licensed instructor. When somebody asks, when can I fly a wingsuit? The typical response is, well, you gotta have 200 skydives first. And that's true. But it's not the whole story, because if you just do 200 skydives and bomb out of a plane and do a bunch of solos and don't learn how to fly your body, how to track, how to backfly, when you put a lot of drag on yourself, it just makes things more difficult. Obviously, the first thing you got to do is learn to skydive, and the AFF progression usually takes somewhere between 7 and 10 jumps, and then you can jump on your own. During AFF or shortly thereafter, I highly encourage you go to the wind tunnel and go through the International Body Flight Association Flyer Level 1 program, where you'll learn how to fly up, down, forward, backward, side slide, left and right, and then maintain heading control. This will be important as you move through the progression. After you've gone through AFF and gotten your A license, if flying wingsuits is your goal, I highly encourage you to look at 7-cell parachutes as opposed to a 9-cell parachute. The reason is they fly a little bit differently, and you might as well get used to it now. And if you get something like a Spectre or a Triathlon or some other canopy that is fairly docile, you can use it for your first wingsuit flying flights later on. Plus, after about 200 jumps on this canopy, you should have your accuracy dialed in, and you should be very comfortable with it. In case you do land off or have line twists, you'd be very comfortable with the parachute that you've been jumping for the last couple hundred jumps. During those first 200 jumps, I do encourage you to get those zoo dives out of your way, those horny gorillas, the jumping with some inflatables, those sorts of things. They are fun and breaks up the monotony of training later on. A lot of people want to skip the belly skydiving and go straight to solo tracking dives, or even jump on some tracking dives that are way beyond someone's ability. And I just caution you and encourage you not to do that, to take a step back and to do a lot of 2-way, 3-way, 4-way formation skydive or belly skydiving relative work. It'll pay off dividends later on. I highly encourage you to check out the Kinesthesia Art of Body Flight program and at least go through the whole 24 jump program. At this point, you've probably got about 75 or 100 jumps. It's a good time to start learning how to do floating exits and diving exits for larger formations. Maybe there's a 4-way linked base and you float up to it by leaving early and getting to it, or dive down after it. Both of these skills will be essential for when you do learn how to put on some more drag and do the same thing with a wingsuit. Once you've got a solid foundation of formation skydiving or relative work on your belly, I encourage you to go to the wind tunnel again and learn how to fly on your back. There's a whole nother progression on how to learn to fly up, down, left, right, side slide, and forward, backward on your back. This will set you up very well, once again, for when you put more drag on with a wingsuit. Although everything in this video is my opinion, it's been validated with some of the top wingsuit pilots in the world, and the flight manual by Jarno Kordia will give you even more of a foundation of everything you need to know before you take your first flight course. This book has a very, very comprehensive foundation of information, and I highly encourage you to pick it up. It's fairly expensive, but well worth it. As you're nearing in on your 200 jump minimum, you should have quite a good foundation of tracking skills with other people. Of course, start with some solos and then do some 2-ways where your instructor or coach or a very experienced skydiver flies on their back and you learn how to fly relative to them, taking different slots on their left, on the right, over and ahead. Learn how to do some back flying on your tracking dives as well, because all of these same skills will translate into wingsuit flying once you put more drag on. Now, once you've hit your 200 jump minimum, and it is a minimum, and it's not like at 199 jumps you're not qualified and at 200 you automatically are. It typically takes about 200 jumps to get through a progression that makes you experienced enough, get good enough judgment, have the knowledge and the skills in order to be ready to strap yourself into a straitjacket and jump out of an airplane. You should be able to do all of the things that I said, where you have good foundational belly flying skills. You can do 2 ways, 3 ways, 4 ways, 8, 10, dive down to formations, fly on your back. You've read the flight manual and or you've looked at supplemental materials online. You can track in certain slots, left, right, overhead, back fly, and then you're ready to go and take a first flight course. I highly recommend you do it with somebody very competent. There are lots of world-class skydiving instructors and wingsuit pilot instructors. Try not to do it with just Joe Schmo who's done it a couple of times and can teach you how to do it. Do it right. Good luck.